All right, so this is going to be a new series kind of thing. It's not going to be in any particular order, just things that I see that I want to talk about. We're probably going to grab things from either the YouTube comments below that I can put together and put on the forum. I know a lot of people would have like a lot of comments that they want to talk about, but they don't necessarily want to go to the forums with it, so that Intrepid's actually not getting that useful information. So I want to take any YouTube comments that we get, compile it into a thing and post it onto the Ashes forum, so we can actually do it like a little bit more streamlined as a community. Maybe I'll get some more interaction on my channel, and that'll be great. I know my hair looks all f***ed up. That's because it is, and I'm having a bad hair day, and I decided to give up on it entirely, basically. All right, yeah, so let's talk about it. Camouflage versus invisibility, and what it means for the Rangers and the Rogues and stuff like that. I kind of want to talk about first, is it fun? Most of the time, when you're playing with Camouflage and invisibility, it is fun. Can be a little bit coming from like a toxic side where you're like, oh man, these guys don't even know where I'm at. But when you're playing against it, a lot of the times it's unfun. So I kind of want to talk about like why it's unfun. More so than is it fun, because the funness is like usually like towards griefing. What makes camouflage and invisibility unfun is pretty simple. Like you can't see something, you can't react to it before you die usually. Or until you're like completely stun locked for like a minute and 30 seconds if you have like a WoW, if you play WoW and you are used to rogues being completely invisible, having almost nothing to stop them except for an AoE, and push them back with like the arcane fire blast or whatever. Yeah, so a lot of it comes to not being able to react to invisibility and either being stun locked and then eventually dying or just instantly killed. So obviously, when we think about what's not fun, we want to think about things to make invisibility fun and also have some sort of counterplay. You also want to make sure that you're using invisibility as like a tactical advantage, whether it's PvE or PvP. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, generally, what makes invisibility unfun is low counter playability. Next, when we look at the Ashes of Creation's last dev update, when we were like looking at the camouflage and stuff, me and a couple of my viewers, because I only have a couple of viewers, by the way, we're discussing about camouflage and how visible it was. Obviously, it's not balanced. It's just kind of being implemented to be showcased and stuff like that. But it's a very easy, like, it's really easy to tweak it. But I found it too visible. Like, okay, so this is what you were talking about, right, Mr. Bigwater? You're like, oh, you can't see them because they're blended into the ground. But like, I can easily see this guy running from through here. Like, it was a little bit harder to tell, like, right here. But like, as soon as he like starts going on anything else, it is relatively easy to see like where he's at. Like, I can almost like pinpoint him immediately. And it is supposed to get harder to see the further that they are, but I don't think it's that difficult to tell. You could easily just see them standing on top of the cliff. And Steven, they can't see us. I was like, I can clearly see you. Yeah, so I think the further you go, the harder it should be to see. Also, another thing, especially if you've played like Halo or the finals, you can get pretty good at seeing these like types of like shades against the light and whatnot. I know Intrepid said that they are going to be working on how light affects things, so this may change in the near future. But it is really, really easy to see the camouflaged people. There's only a few instances where it's like kind of difficult, and that's kind of like looking at it from like a top-down view. That's probably the only time that seeing camouflage is actually harder. So I think you can actually tune the invisibility or the camouflage based by distance. I think that might help it quite a lot. Maybe like make sure that there's not enough like light that is really being refracted against these I don't know, sprites or the characters themselves. So that like if you're beyond 60 meters, you're basically invisible. If you're beyond 45 meters, you could maybe see them. And then like 30 meters, they're seeable, but they're difficult to spot still. And then like anything close to like 20 meters and you get progressively easier and easier to see. To the point where like where you're within 5 meters, you can just see them. Like there should be no difficulty seeing them unless they're like standing still against a rock, you know? That's kind of how I feel like camouflage should work, and it would be intuitive to do it that way. Another thing that they talked about that I really want to hone in on is that you will be able to click on these camouflaged individuals anywhere on your screen. I just want to make sure that Intrepid is aware that if you mouse over it, the mouse icon doesn't change in the UI. So like if I'm hovering all over my screen to check for camouflage people, my mouse indicator doesn't just instantly turn red whenever it goes over like an enemy that is camouflage. I want to make sure that the UI doesn't change so that camouflage has the ability to, you know, actually work. So what makes it unfun for the people that are camouflaged is that you're too easy to see. So there is a balance there, which obviously we haven't balanced yet. But I wanted to at least talk about that. Then the other thing is whether it should be toggleable, if it should be like a mana or stamina consumption, or if it should just be on a cooldown. And honestly, I kind of went on this on my, like when I was initially watching it, and I think camouflage as a toggle is fine. As long as you balance the other aspects around it. Like if it is the way that it is currently, moving around should make you more visible, and staying stationary should make you less visible. Having it being toggleable is fine. Invisibility, however, being non-toggle, like if it is a toggle or if it's a cooldown or something like that, I think invisibility should be on a cooldown. Like true invisibility should be on a cooldown. Simply because walking around completely invisible for an unlimited time obviously is just broken. I just wanted to put it out there. Intrepid's probably already thought that. Most of the stuff that I say, they're already on it. They're already like on the same track as I am. A lot of my Ranger feedback previously has been either implemented or was already being decided on from their side on their team. I can't really tell because I didn't have any like talks. Like I don't have like any like internal ability to hear what they're talking about or what they're already planning. But I do know that when I was giving my Ranger feedbacks, almost all of that was implemented or at least like thought about and, you know, talked about. So very, very happy with the way that Ranger has turned out so far, mostly because I had the same thoughts on how Rangers should be. So yeah, I really do trust Intrepid's design principles and choices. The last couple things here, because I know this is going on a little bit longer than I had planned, is PvP should have skill and be used tactically, which means it should have downsides. So anything that you can do, we can talk about this with like the funness. It should be used tactically, which means you should have counterplay. That's all that really means. And there's many ways that you can do this by either implementing skills in other classes, like the Mage Arcane Eye, which can see true invisibility and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. So as long as you have stuff like that in, which they already plan to, I think it's fine. So I think Intrepid's already on the right track for the PvP side. For the PvE side, a lot of this gets lost almost all the time, especially in like just any MMO really. You can have invisibility interact with creature AI in different ways. One, you could have it drop aggro like entirely on like mobs that are like much lower than you in terms of level, or you could have them drop slightly based on like if they are higher level or like slightly higher level or like in your range, or they like sometimes drop a little bit aggro, like they can sense you. Maybe it's a specific mob that has like really good senses that it like it'll drop a little bit of aggro, but like it could still sense that you're in the area and may still aggro towards you. And then there should be some monsters that may have invisibility sight where they don't lose any aggro and they know exactly where they where you are. Like maybe like a blind sight type of monster or something, or animal can like see you. Maybe like a bat would like have like echolocation or something. So it may not even be like just because it's a level 1 bat and you're level 50 adventure and you go invisibility, it could use like an echolocation and still have sight on you, which may like you could even get like more in depth. And I'm not sure how this works on the design side, but you could like if that bat is using echolocation and can like flock towards you, maybe the aggro on the other monsters may be able to realize that based on the bat's actions. But I'm not sure. That sounds really difficult to implement, but I figured, you know, maybe that's a possible thing. You can also make it so that like if monsters that are really high like level above you and you turn invisible and they have like any type of sensibility, they might be able to lock onto you. But yeah, depending on, I think it should depend on the type of monster, and maybe that's just brought into the AI a little bit. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the camouflage and invisibility that's been shown thus far. If you have any questions, comments, you want to put in your own, I will be compiling all YouTube comments, and I will be posting this onto the Ashes of Creation forum, so your voice will be heard as well. So that's what I plan to do with this feedback series, so please let me know, and in about like a week or two, depending on how many comments I can get, I will compile those and send those to Intrepid. So thanks all for watching, and see you later. See you on the next one.